Hello, welcome to the Secret Cocktail. I get an opportunity to interview Ms. Sychar. She is a CNA school owner of Blue Rock Training Center located in Illinois. And thank you so much for taking the opportunity, or the time rather, and giving me the opportunity to interview you during our growth series. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you, Victoria. This is an honor and a privilege that I'm able to talk to you and share my what I've experienced and what you've experienced in knowledge.
Yes, I'm excited to have you. So I want to start off by saying thank you so much for trusting us to assist you with helping your school getting up and running. Sychar is actually a member of our, excuse me, I guess she's one of our past clients. We assisted her with complete project management to get her school up and running in Illinois. And what was that process like for you with getting everything up and going?
Well, first of all, before I contacted you, I started to do my own thing, like getting the business together, the business name and stuff like that, which was very discouraging because I didn't know what I was doing until I signed up for your business plan class and I started having a light into how to do things. But still, it was overwhelming. That's when I talked to you, I'm like, hey, I really need your help trying to get this approval, just trying to get the whole. I didn't even know about Illinois Board of Higher Education until I talked to you, and then go to the state and get approved from that. So with your help, it was so smooth. You guys really got me through like step by step on how this is what you got to do first before you get this and this. So it was really smooth, and then it made me understand more of what I'm trying to do, what I need to do every step of the way, until even after I got approved. You guys really helped me too, just to set up my whole school, even how I designed the school. You helped me too on that.
So. Yes, I remember those FaceTime days where you're like, hey, over here.
Yeah.
I wish I could have been there with you. That's the only thing about being, in another state. I don't get a chance to be there directly with you, depending on, where people are. But that's why I'm very grateful for technology like what we're using right now, because you can still utilize my brain and my expertise no matter where you are throughout the United States. So I was happy to be a part of that. What you're doing, one thing I remember about you when we talked, when you first got up and going, was how passionate you were about this process. So if you can talk to people about kind of why you even started your school. I think that sometimes we get so caught up in what we're doing that we always forget about our why and why we are doing what we're doing. So if you can kind of share with everyone why you even decided to take this endeavor on.
Oh man, this is a story. Actually, how did I start? Okay, so my parents have their own caregiving agency company. It was COVID time. They needed, one of our subcontractor companies needed CPR. Okay, CPR in COVID time, and we're like, where are we gonna get CPR? And I was like, how hard is it to be an instructor? So I went ahead and researched how to become a CPR instructor. So I searched and I was like, oh, that's not hard. I just need to go to class for two days and pay, I don't know, $400, I think. And then I went, right? So I went, got my CPR instructor license, and then trained these people to become CPR certified. Yeah. And I loved it. Okay. I loved it. And I was like, man, this is amazing. I was like, this is when I found out, I'm like, this is it. This is my calling, I thought, nursing, I love nursing, but I was like, okay, teaching is amazing. And so then one day I was looking at a article, and it talked about how we're in a shortage for a long time till 2030. Okay, for physicians, CNAs, everyone. So I went to my mom, and at this point I was like, Ma, we need to start looking at ways to get caregivers, then CNAs and all of that. For some reason, I don't know, because our phones are so smart, you started popping up in my YouTube channel, like in my YouTube, like you would just start popping up, and you talk about CNA, how how to become a CNA school. So I started searching how to become a CNA school. And so that's how it started. And then I talked to my parents about it. I'm like, I want to start a CNA school. I don't know what this is, but I want to teach, and this is what I want to do. So that's how my
Yeah.
thinking was. And then there was an incident after that. When I went to work, there was an incident where my CNA, blood pressure was super high. She didn't know what she wanted. She didn't know. She didn't report to me it was super high. And then that patient ended up in the hospital, kind of that scenario, which could have been
Mhm.
prevented. So that's when I knew. I'm like, okay, I think I should really go into teaching. And of course, I'm passionate about teaching people how to be knowledgeable. Like, I love to teach people, like, just to teach them, like, this is what I've learned. I want to teach this to you so you be more safe, or not even in just healthcare, but in anything. I love to teach whatever I know. So that's
Well,
how I see it.
one thing you mentioned the blood pressure, and for anyone watching who has a CNA program or you're thinking about teaching, I'm gonna tell you right now, the blood pressure is the most commonly failed skill at the state level when they go on to become CNAs. So for that reason, I really highly encourage people to drill that in, teach it earlier if you can, give them a blood pressure stethoscope and let them go home and practice, because that is the most commonly missed skill. And to your point, we hear a lot out in the field, I don't know how to do blood pressure. I only know how to use the machine.
Yes.
Not knowing the parameters and not reporting. So I love when I hear other nurses say, no, I saw a problem and I wanted to fix it.
Yeah.
That's what makes the best entrepreneurs, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it really
Just
is.
following you wherever you're going. I'm following you.
So how long have you been in business now with Blue Rock?
So, well, I know we've got approved in 2021, but I was so busy with other stuff. I started running in this year, January. So 8 months, 8 months on August 5th. So
Eight
it's been a
months.
crazy 8 months. It's been an exciting 8 months. A lot of roller coasters, but we're going through. We're going through.
Yeah, and let's be transparent. So this is a transparent moment. I want to be very transparent in this series about what it looks like to be an owner, and what were the first days like, what were the bad days like, and what were the good days like. So tell me your first class. How many students you have in your first class?
My first class in January, I had one student.
Mm-hmm.
One student, and this student, I didn't even have a background check because I didn't know I had to do a background check on her. Like, but the good thing is I was like, oh, we gotta do a background check, like in the middle of the class, but she was so understanding.
Yeah.
Was, I mean, she passed her. I was so happy. Like, I think even up to now, whenever we hear people pass the class, we're so happy. So yeah, it was just her. It's just one person, 9 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. and then Monday to Friday for 5 weeks. But I was so happy. I'm like, I asked her, how did you find me? And she said, oh, I found you in Google and I liked your website. I was like, great, great. This is great. She liked my website. That's why she went with me. And she trusted me, of course, At that point, I was like, hey, I'm so grateful. I treated her like, I don't know,
She
a
was a
queen.
VIP.
VIP, VVVVIP. Then after that, the next month, we had a weekend class and I had 4 students. And then after that, I think I had, it was like going up and down, Then after that, we had like 1 student again, and then 3 students until the summer came. And, actually after they take their class and they pass it, we're like, okay, make sure you write your reviews, Google ads, we're like, make your reviews at Google ads. And I think that helped really, with the visibility of Blue Rock in Google. And
So
after that,
that's a key takeaway, everybody.
yes.
Have those students do reviews. And as a matter of fact, I have them do it on the last day while they're still in class. Like, here, go to the website now and do a review now. Because people mean well and they want to do it, but they forget. And you're right, the reviews can boost your rating on Google. It makes you likable on Google, and so many people miss out. I have seen people who've been in business for 2 years and has 5 reviews. How?
Yeah. So we really push that. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, in a nice way, of course, in a
Yeah.
nice way. Then when summer came, that's when everything just changed. And we had 25 students, you know, and I was like, whoa, we didn't know what to do with the 25 students because what our classroom was small. So I
Mhm.
was like, we don't know what to do. So we had to switch classrooms from the lab back to, you know, to
Mhm.
the classroom and stuff like that. And then now, you know, now we have about we have three in the mornings and then three at nights. So
Yeah.
it fluctuates, but you know, at least it's something we're getting out there. So that's how the enrollment is going right now.
So what would you say, what type of strategies did you implement that you think were responsible for the influx that occurred?
What do you mean? Like
Like, what
for
did you do different? Did you do anything different? I know when we were talking, you had mentioned using Google Ads. Like, was there a particular time when you started implementing that? Was there anything different that happened?
actually no, there was not. I didn't change any of my marketing strategy at the moment, but I just literally used Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads most of the time, and word of mouth. Most of my students are word of mouth. One thing too is my parents' company, which is a caregiving company.
Yeah.
That's they give me a lot. You know, they sponsor caregivers to
Mm-hmm.
become serious. Um, Also, I've partnered up with skilled nursing facilities, you know, that wants to become, you know, that I was like, hey, we can be your clinical site, you know, in return, if you guys want some CNAs that you guys, I know you guys are short staffed, so they start bringing their people in the school, but that's
Okay.
slowly happening, you know. So I haven't changed anything in my marketing strategy, which that's where I know I'm lacking, and I know I
Mm.
need to get that, you know, I need to change it. I just don't know where or how. That's why I need to talk to you after this.
You know, let's talk about it now. One thing that I
Mm,
recognize, like, and I like that you're doing that, like you're paying attention to, hey, I got students. Where did they come from? How did you hear about me? What made you choose me? Those are the perfect questions to ask because you can then accumulate that data and then create a new strategy based upon that information, right? So,
mm,
for instance, if someone said, oh, I picked you because you had good reviews, or I picked you because of the hours of the program or whatever, right? And you're hearing that a lot, then you start promoting what you're hearing. So you say,
mm,
hey, come to our school. A lot of people are telling us they chose us because of reviews. So I'm going to start popping the reviews out. So, hey, choose us. Here's what the last 5 people who took our class said, you know, and do a cute little TikTok with that. Or, hey, choose us because we have hours that are during the day when your kids are at school, because that's what everybody's telling me. So you really
mm,
utilize what people are telling you in your marketing strategy. Why did you choose me? That's number
mm,
one. Number two, actually, let me go back to number one. The biggest thing I like to say about number one, the number one way that I just mentioned to you is that not only do I use what people are telling me, but I say it exactly the way they said it. Right. So, for instance, if they said, "Oh, I chose you because you had great reviews or you have 5-star reviews," that I would say it just like that. Don't try to be fancy with it. Don't try to be intellectual with it. You know, just say it exactly the way they said it. I mean, the exact words verbatim. And because now you're
mm.
speaking your customer's language, and your customer will listen when you're speaking their language.
Okay.
The second one is I would definitely make sure that I'm utilizing the platform that gave me the most, right? So
Mm,
if you had Google Ads, and you did Instagram, and you did TikTok, and then out of those 25 people, you found 15 of them came to you from TikTok. Well, now, and only 2 came to you from Instagram. Well, now I know that TikTok is giving me my time, my bang for my buck. I better be
mm,
giving a lot of time to TikTok, right?
mhm.
So really, you not to say you shouldn't do Instagram or those other things anymore, but you would either A, do more of TikTok, or B, do what you were doing on TikTok on the other platforms. Because
Mm,
sometimes we'll do like on TikTok, I might do a dance video, but on Instagram, I just do a picture of graduates, right? Well, the
yeah.
message was different. So
Mhm.
that's why TikTok did well and versus Instagram didn't. So your message, maybe you can play with that message that did well and put it over here and see if it does well over there too. It's all a game. It is. Like you said, you just keep trying different things out and see what works. It's a game, but you have to be strategic with it, which can be hard if you're working, if you're teaching, you're managing it, and then you're trying to look at these strategies. It can be hard.
Yeah. Yes, it is. But
Yeah.
we're surviving, I guess, in that, but I do think I need more help now,
Mhm.
to get this marketing stuff done.
So tell me, how did you manage going from, because this is important too, how did you manage going from, hey, I've got 3 people in my class to I've got 25? Like I heard you say, well, I had to move some things around and I had to use the classroom in a different way. How did it affect your teaching strategy? How did it affect your lab supplies? Like all of those things. What did you have to do different that you learned during that time period?
So I'm I'm blessed that I have a very great instructor. I have a full-time instructor. Um, Her name's Joanne. She teaches. She's there. She's the one. She takes care of the teaching part. Um, when we had 25 students, of course, we were like trying to strategize how we're gonna fit 25 students. I only had 10 tables.
Mhm.
I mean 10 chairs and 5 tables. I'm like, how am I gonna do it? So we had to like go to Costco, buy more 4 feet tables. And of course, like when it came to the books and the uniforms and the blood pressure, we're like, okay, buy everything at Amazon right now. So like before I even started, we were like ready to whatever, stuff they needed in lab
Yeah.
supplies. But it's very helpful that you have an instructor. I'm a second instructor, so when she's teaching and if like there's an overlap in clinicals and stuff like that, then I
Yeah.
go in the clinical part, which is much better than the teaching part, because the teaching is really different. Like it takes a lot of your time. And I'm very blessed with my team, my assistant and my instructor, because they're very passionate of what they do. Joanne is very passionate of teaching. So I'm just like, kudos to you. I'll do whatever you want me to do, whatever you need, just keep the class going. So that's what we did with the 25, but now we just started this whole survey thing,
Mhm.
like how you find us and all that. And then I really just add like, what do you think should we do to be, better? And they really write down like what they think they need. I'm like, oh, you need a better, I don't know. Some of them put like, need to have better food. I'm like, seriously? We eat like, I don't know what else to feed you. Like, we eat chips, I love pizza. Like we have parties every week. Like, I don't know what else to tell you, but that really helped a lot. Like doing surveys
Yeah.
helped a lot, just for me and for the instructor, and really for us as a team, like how to be better, just not just in like our operations, but how we talk to them, how we treat them, which is, I'm very thankful and very grateful, like from all the reviews I get from them.
That's huge. And what I hear you saying is you have a team and it makes life easier. I know a lot of people watching are probably thinking, how in the world, did she manage having a team with 3 students? Like how did that work?
With having 3 students,
How are you managing a team with, low enrollment in the beginning? How did that work? How did you prepare yourself for that?
um, you, well, how do I say this? I'm gonna be transparent with you.
Mhm.
Blue Rock cannot afford a full-time instructor at the moment, right? But
Mhm.
some people or some business owners, they have money in the bank, right? They already have money saved up, for these kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough that the other company, which is my parents' company, is the
Mhm.
one that's basically, we're like, okay, I'm gonna give you a loan so that you can,
Okay, big parent company and sister company type thing. Got you. Okay.
so that's how we're surviving with, with a team. I only have 2 people, which is a um a full-time instructor and my assistant, which is amazing. That's all I need right now. But that's what's working for us right now because I have a parent company that's helping me.
And I think that's important to note because I think that if you didn't have the parent company helping you and it was just you, I think it would have been very hard to get to that full class over the summer.
Yes.
It would have
Yes.
been very hard to reach them. It would have been hard to enroll them. It would have been hard to teach them and graduate them like by yourself. So I want to really just drill home this point because I see so many owners who want to do it by themselves. And guess what? I was one of them. I was one of them who wanted to do it all by myself. And I'm not saying you can't, you can, but it's kind of sometimes you don't know where you could be if you were doing something else, right? Like, I think I got it all together and it's working good, but if you had another hand, did you know you could have double of what you have, you know? And it may be a bit of a sacrifice in the beginning, but you could have more. It's
Mhm.
hard to see if you don't try. So
Actually,
go ahead.
when I started in January, when I had one student, I, that was just me. Okay, it was just me.
Mhm.
And I was like, I can do this just one student, you know. And then people started calling me and asking, oh, what is your, you know, your school, all that. I literally had to tell my student, hold on, let me answer this phone call. You know, I was like, okay, I can't do it by myself. Yes, it's true. Sometimes you can save money, but at the same time, it's like what you said, you could have done double if you have the help. Some people think, yeah, I'm saving money now, but are you really saving money? You know, is it the money that it's there that you're wasting, or is it your time? For me, time is more essential now than money, you know, because time is, you need the time to make money, and you need the time for knowledge and whatever your goal is, you know. So for me now, time, if the money can support it, I'm going for it, you know. I'm giving it to someone, I'm delegating it to someone else so I can do something else to be better, to help more people, and to, you know, that aspect.
Yeah, no, that is a entrepreneurial mind shift that sometimes takes people a long time to grasp. It does. And that's okay. I mean, we all go through different phases with how we think in business. Do you think your parents having a company helps you with your entrepreneurial mindset? Yeah,
Yes, yes, there, yeah, a lot. The
good.
challenge, I think that's one of, I think this is important too, is having a really good support system. Um, I'm very blessed and thankful that I have very supportive parents, but also the people around me, my friends, my everyone around me really is very supportive of what you do. It's, but if they become negative Nancy, I call them negative Nancy. I just cut them off. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not, you are not worth my time. I'm going somewhere else. I am not growing with you. See you, bye bye. So I think I have that mindset now, you know, because I just want to keep helping and growing, and you know, I'm in a different world now too. So negative Nancy's is not my cup of tea.
Yeah, how do you deal with that? I know a lot of times when you're in business, you have people around you that A, don't understand it, what you're doing, why you're doing it, or like you said, B, they have negative things to say and they don't know how to be supportive.
Mm.
I'm like you, I cut them off quick. Like I'm not finna be dealing, I don't even have the patience for that. But did you find that to be hard in the beginning, or was it very simple for you to be like, next?
Well, I'm the kind of person that especially when it comes to you know, my friends or anyone, like I will give you everything, you know, my time, my not whatever knowledge I have. I think it started when I'm still young, you know, in my high school years. I really don't like drinking. I really don't like those stuff. Like I like to, I'm always have a hobby. Like I have to be, you know, learning something at all
Yeah.
times. So when I see that we don't meet our, you know, level, I don't know, mindset level, then I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I've done everything I did. And I'm that friend that I'm like, people will think of me like, oh, you're so strong, you're so bossy. But really at the end, I'm just trying to help you like grow too, I'm not just
Yes.
trying to drag you down, you know. So that's the kind of of course, I have made mistakes in my life, but I think that those mistakes, those decisions have helped me grow to where I am now, and what kind of people, what kind of stuff I want to listen to. So yeah, it's kind of easy for me to just like, all right, I've done everything I can. I've helped you in many ways. You don't want to take it, that's on you.
Right. Next, what to do next?
Mhm,
Okay, so talk to me. I heard you mention that you have some nursing homes you have partnered with that send you students.
mhm,
How many community, I know because you said you've been in business for 8 months now. So
yeah.
in that 8 months, how many like community relationships have you acquired that send you referrals? That's my first question. And then the second question would be, how long did it take you to cultivate those relationships? And what did that look like?
So now I have Park Place, Windsor, Greenfields, and then there's one Forest Park. So I have four. I have four communities that um it started with Windsor Park Place, which I just go in there, and I literally went there and I was like, hey, I have a CNA school. I'm starting a CNA school. Can you please help me get this approved? Literally, that's what I said to the administrator. I'm like, I mean, because I worked there, okay, but like, I was like, please help me get this approved. And in return, we'll go here for your clinical site. I mean, for our clinicals. And hey, it's a win-win. You don't pay me. I'm helping people. I'm helping you guys out with, with staffing and stuff like that. And then I said, but if you have any students, if you have any
Right.
students that wants to become CNAs, send them my way. I'll give you a discount, like I think 20%, I think discount I was giving
Mhm.
them. Um, then I just started giving them flyers. Okay. Gave them flyers. And then another Windsor was kind of like, I went in there, and I know the person, like the DO in there. So same thing, I kind of like pitched it to her like, hey, I have a CNA school. I'm not asking for anything, but I need a clinical site, and then she pitched it to her executive director, and they saw that it's a win-win because it's gonna help their facility.
Yeah.
um, and then they're the ones that's giving me a lot of referrals, because the way they see it is that we're gonna sponsor. They actually got what is it called now? Kind of like a WOYA program, but it's with the state. So they get funded by the state.
Mhm.
So they get funded, but so the state funds Windsor, and then they send the people to me. So
Okay.
they get, that's how they're sending me their people. Um,
I want to piggyback off of that one real quick because I think that's an underutilized tool that we don't talk about.
mhm.
And I haven't talked about yet in this series. And that is like, even though they already did that, we could be giving these locations those ideas. Like we could tell them, I'll give you an example. There's a huge hospital system by my school, and they are horribly short on medical assistants. I mean, like 800
Oh,
job,
wow.
yeah, which is huge. They
Mhm,
are 800 job openings for medical assistants. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I know that you guys have this disparity with your medical assistants. What are you currently doing for that? And they were like, oh yeah, we want to talk to you. We see you have a medical assistant program, and they set up a virtual call with me. Well, on the virtual call, before I had the virtual call, I started reaching out to local communities that I know that have funding. And I learned about how the funding would work so that I could prepare that information for the meeting when I met with them. And when I
mhm,
met with them, I just told them like, hey, there's this funding out here for an apprenticeship, and I would get paid to teach your students or your future employees. Your future employees would get paid through the grant, so you don't have to pay them
mhm.
during the educational process. And after 4 or 5 months, you have an employee who is now working for your organization, and you didn't have to pay for the training or any of that stuff. But you just need a partner to get this funding. I could be your partner, right? And so it was kind of like an aha moment for them, like, yeah, I did hear about that, but I wasn't sure, and so we had to talk more. But I'm saying that to say, if you see, like you guys who are watching, and even for yourself, if you see or hear about that funding, for instance, I would learn more about that funding. What's the name of that program? And then I would go learn about it and start introducing my other schools to that program. I'm sorry, my other nursing homes to that program, so that they can be sending me more people. And it's like a partnership. One thing I've definitely learned about grants, you guys, is that they love a partnership. And even if you partner through a third party in there, like maybe a third party who does like professional development or interview skills and resume writing and building, throw that person in there and let them get a piece of the pie too. Hey, we want those grant dollars that you're giving out for this specific thing, and here's how all three of us are going to work together. And so many people think that you have to be a nonprofit to do this. You don't. You don't. And if the grant does say you need to be a nonprofit, only one of you have to be. And usually that one person is the distributor of it. And then you two are vendors that they're going to pay to help them, do this. So yeah, if you already got a company that's doing that, tell the other companies about it, and it's slow. It's not like they're going to get it tomorrow. They might get it in 6 months, but hey, you plan on being there, right?
Yeah. Thank you for that, because I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah.
But those are the stuff I'm actually looking at too now, like the scholarships. It's hard to find them, but it's there.
Yeah, and no, it is. It's hard to find, but it is there. And I'm gonna tell you what, once you get into that community that shares this information about the grant dollars locally, you start learning about other things. And next thing you know, you're getting emails left and right. It's just finding it, getting your foot in and winning. And then after that, it's easy. Yeah, I promise you just win over and over and over.
Okay.
Where do we find information about grants for the funding you discussed? Hey, Leslie. That's the thing. So I have Google Alerts on and I should probably do a video for this. I have Google Alerts. You guys Google Alerts, and you can actually you can tell Google to send you emails every time articles are written with certain keywords. So I have pitch competitions. I have grant dollars for CNA, Atlanta pitch competitions. There's like keywords I'll use, and I tell Google every time someone publishes a website that says something about these words, send me the article. And I promise you, every night at midnight, Google sends me all these articles that are published that are going to be published the next day. And I go and look it up and see if it applies to me.
Wait, so where do you get these Google alerts though? Like, how do you sign up for the Google
So
alert?
it's called Google Alert. That's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
It's called Google Alert. And once you find Google Alert, you'll just tell it. You really won't know, like you just can play with the keywords you want or that you're looking for, you're interested in. And sometimes you'll find like, oh, that keyword didn't work good. It's giving me crap, rather than saying CNA, let me say certified nursing assistant, right? You got to play with it a little bit, but that's one way to learn about grant opportunities in your local community or area. Another way is to just like look up grants that have been awarded. Like you might, even though the grant didn't apply to you, or you got an email saying the grant was already awarded through those Google alerts, I would look up who got it, what was the name of that grant, and when is the next time they're going to distribute the funding. And then I put it on my calendar. Oh, I missed it. But guess what? 6 months from now, they're going to do that same thing again. Here's the people who want it. I'm about to go talk to them, right? Like you have to be very strategic. I'm going to introduce myself now. So 6 months from now, when it happens, maybe they'll consider me. Very strategic, but it takes time.
These are real. These are like gold. You're telling me are gold. These are gold information.
I want everybody to take it and run with it. The thing is, sometimes I feel like I get like we were talking about earlier, how like you're teaching your students and then, it's like, did you hear me? Are you there? So yeah. Sometimes, I tell this stuff, but you guys have to be the ones to run with it and take it, and run. So I can't wait to see each of you do that.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm going to work on this. Mm-hmm.
All
What
right.
was your other question? I forgot.
I think it was just, my question was, what community partnerships do you have? You told me, and then I wanted to know, how did you nurture them, right? So like, once you got that partner, well, some of them, it sounded pretty easy. Like, let's go down did you call first? Did you just show up? How did you find out who to talk to? Walk us through what that looked like.
Yes. So the first one I called them first and I set up an appointment, we went in there. And then the second one, same thing. I called first and then went in there. The third one was actually they came to me. They saw me on Facebook and then they came to me. And the other one, I think wherever they can see me on social media, a scheduler reached out to me and she was like, hey, we really need your help. Can you be your clinical site? I'm like, okay, great. Let's talk and get this, and he was the one that, set up the whole meeting with the DON and the administrator and whoever it is. The
Nice.
two of the partners we had, they were the ones that came to me. How did I nurture that and keep it with them? I mean, I'm a foodie. I like to give out food. I don't know if you noticed. So we usually give food a lot, donuts. I'm Filipino, so pancit is like the it. So we give a lot of pancit. So I think that's one of my strong suit is food. My dad's a cook, so I'm like, can you make me pancit? And then she just give pancit to them. So
You know what? That's something we can learn from that. And we were taught, me and my assistant Corey, we were talking about that yesterday because a man actually came into our building yesterday and he works for like some type of PTOT therapy company, but his goal is he's like a liaison. So his goal is for you to learn about the company, right? So he stops by and even though he stopped by for CPR purposes, he still gave us his spill, right? And when he left, Corey, she's kind of new to healthcare. So she was like, wow, that was so interesting. He has a pretty cool job. And he's telling me how he's going from place to place and giving food and talking. And that's just his job. And I said, yeah, but you know how impactful that is? Do you know how impactful that is? Think about those pharmaceutical companies who come stop at the doctor's office every week and they give pizza or they give donuts or they give whatever. And while they're there, they're like, by the way, here's this medication, right? And because they're so consistent and they do that, you're going to never forget them. And then when you do have that patient, you probably are going to try that medication, whether or not it was an agreement, it's kind of an understood agreement. And so I think we could all learn something from that as business owners. If we have these companies, don't say, oh, okay, well, they signed the agreement, good, on to the next. No, like nurture that relationship, stop by, talk to them, give them food, continue to build and strengthen that relationship.
Yeah, I learned this. I learned that strategy from, when I did a marketing crash course a long time ago for the caregiving side. And then he talked, I don't know if you know, he's like the owner of Hurricane Marketing. I don't know if I forgot his name, but he told me in the video, he said, if you want to get through like the administrators and DONs, you have to be friends with the gatekeepers, which is best people, right? So again, being consistent, like you gotta like with skilled nursing facilities, you have to go there like every week, just give them coffee, give them donuts, like, hi, how are you today? Like that's really that's the formula. Once you get them, then they're like, hey, can you set me up with the administrator? Then you're gold. You're like, okay, yeah, I can do that. When is your availability? So that's the same mindset I have now. Like, with food though, people will not say no to food.
No.
And of course, like what you said, like they will remember that. You don't know, like today this person had a really bad day and you came in the right time, like, hey, have some food, and that helped them. So, and what is food to a long-term relationship you're going to have with this business? So that's how I always look at things. Yeah, you're spending X amount of dollars, but you're going to get 10 times more of what you just spent on the food.
Yeah. So. And while they're eating, you have an ear who's going to listen.
Yes. So Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how I nurture them. I try as much as I can. We just leave, but I can't split my body in half. So I need another hand to give them the food.
Yeah, that's a whole nother, like a school liaison, that's a community liaison for your school. That's like a whole nother job, in all honesty. It could be a full-time job.
I'm again, I always say when it's so funny because sometimes I would just look at the school and I would just sit there and just like tears would just like, start going down. I'm like, this isn't, no, I didn't do this, none of this. So I'm like so thankful. I'm so blessed of like what I have now because it's like, this is not me a year ago, I'm thinking about something else. And but today I'm so blessed because yesterday, one of my friends came in. She had a friend and she's like, hey, I really want to talk to you. I said, okay. And she's like, I just graduated with a degree in business communications and
Mhm.
marketing. And she's like, I want to have experience. So I was like, okay, what experience do you want? She's like, you don't have to pay me, but I really want to have experience. I said, okay, we're going to do research. So, great, great, come on in. I'm going to teach you what I know. We can bounce off things. So
Mhm.
that I'm like, okay, now I have another arm in the marketing side, so
Mm. See, you
thank you.
keep bringing up so many things that are so good because that just reminded me, like, you guys could be reaching out to colleges and getting externships from their marketing majors,
Yes.
and saying,
Actually,
hey,
Actually, Victoria, you just gave me I just remembered this. So I'm part of chamber, right?
mhm,
I'm part of our chamber. So I do a lot of we do a lot of networking events. And I get these things and they're like, oh yeah, we're from College of DuPage, like our community college. And like, oh, we do externship for this. I'm like, oh, give me that. I'm a CNA school. We need whatever you need, just like what you said, like
mhm.
if it fits in our program, let's go do it. I don't need 10 people, maybe like one or two, but let me get them. So I'm trying to get there.
Yep, yep. That's another great thing that people don't think about that sometimes, I think. So Karen said, I'm blocks from IUN. All right. Somebody said, I used to be a sales rep and food usually helps develop community. Yes, it does. We all like to sit down and have a good meal and talk. Well, we're getting towards the end. So if anybody has questions, now's the time. While I'm waiting for those questions, I'm going to ask you, Sychar, what's next for Blue Rock?
um what's next for Blue Rock? I'm actually looking towards being to open LPN school. We
Mm.
want to do LPN, but I know we still have some wrinkles we have to fix and stuff like that, but LPN is what I'm eyeing on.
Nice.
I don't know anything about phlebotomy yet, maybe, but we'll see. But why not? For me, my mindset is why go small if you can go big? So we might as well go LPN now, So
Did you
that's
used to be an
that's
LPN?
me.
Mhm.
No, not
No.
LPN.
Okay.
Just RN. So
Okay.
we'll see. Um, I'm still learning in that part, But right now, go
So I
ahead.
think I think with that, just since you mentioned it, what I would do, only because we have one of my very first school owners who ever entrusted us to help them set up their school for complete project management was in Virginia. And so she's been in operation for like 4 years now. But 2 years ago, she came to me and was like, hey, can you please help me with an LPN program? I know you don't do it. I know you've never done it, but I know if anybody can do it, you can. And so I
Mhm.
was like, okay, well, let me tap into my network and let me talk to my team and let's see what we can do. And we assisted her and she opened an LPN program. And I just went to her graduation last year. I mean, like 2 or 3 months ago. Now, why I'm bringing that up is because one of the things I learned from her during this process was that she needed, just like we do with the CNA program, referrals, right? So she partnered with different nursing homes, and there was a hospital that they were all short LPNs. So she partnered with them very early on and said, hey, I'm getting ready to create this LPN program. I know you're short LPNs. Let's work together. How about you send me some people? I'll make sure they get teached up. In return, I need, a clinical contract from you, because you need multiple clinical contracts for the LPN program, right? You need the peds, you need the OB, you need all that stuff, nursing home, hospital, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so she built all those relationships, and her first class, they sent her 25 students between those.
Wow.
Mhm. So she positioned herself very early on, like, this is what I'm doing, and this is how it can benefit you. And that's another thing. If you guys haven't learned anything from these conversations, people want to know, how is it going to help me?
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. You want to save the world, you like it, but how is it going to help me? What am I going to get from it? And when they learned that they were going to fill their nurse vacancies, they wanted everything to do with it. So they sent their CNAs, they sent their, EVS staff, all that. And she was able to train them. So she just graduated her first class 2 months ago. Yep.
Thank
So
you.
we're, yeah, I say go for it. And I say identify potential partners for it. And we're slowly but surely exploring the LPN idea. I'm getting that a lot. I said, I'm just going to do one, and we're not going to do it anymore. But I think I'll entertain it depending on the state. Virginia was not a terrifying state to overcome. Georgia really isn't either. Some states are just like.
Is that Illinois?
Isn't Illinois wasn't is that they're not that bad. I mean, there's just some states that are like really in your financial business, and they want like the CPA to do this and to audit that, and and then what about your personal, and how many cars you got, and how many houses? Like, they're really like
Oh, wow.
in business. Illinois is not one of those states. They're just like, how much you say it's gonna cost you? Okay, great. They're not looking at you at a magnifying glass. So but anyway, let me see if there's any questions. Hey Pamela. We can look at it. I'm here for it. Okay, well, I think that's it. Sychar, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and what you've experienced through this process. And if there's any way, as you always know, that I can be assistance to you, you let me know. And I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Victoria. This is wonderful. Thank you for reaching out to me too.
Yeah. Anyway, I can stay in contact. I love to hear how things go, and I love to stay in contact. This in my seminar and the Mastermind Retreat are the favorite part of what I do, because I get to connect directly. Sitting behind the computer and doing the paperwork, I don't mind it, but I prefer.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you again. You have a great day. Okay.
You too. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.